Winners, butt kickers, champions in life. Vincent Rose here, the Fat Killer with H2G Fitness, coming to you from my patio. And I hope everybody's having an amazing evening thus far. And I'm excited about sharing this message with you guys. For anybody that's still up, that's willing to take a minute to listen to my voice. And it's just something I got to get off my chest, out of my heart, out of my brain, and put it out there to you guys. So here we go. Title of this is, why do I run so hard? Why do I work so much? Why do I sacrifice all? Why do I push myself to the limit, past my breaking points, and why do I leave it all out on the field, right? I have a very abnormal and unaverage level of work commitment that most people don't understand. They don't get it. They're like, Vincent, I see what time you post in the morning. I see your posts during the day. I see how late you're staying up at night. I understand how little sleep you're getting. What is the point? Are you just a lunatic? Are you a maniac? Why are you frickin' running so hard, man? Tell me, because I don't get it. What drives you to think and wake up at 3, 4, or 5 in the morning and run so hard all day long? Why are you doing it? It is this, okay? I knew from a very young age that I would absolutely 100% go insane if I had to work for somebody for the rest of my life. I've never enjoyed it. I have sincerely hated every job that I've ever worked. I've never liked having somebody stand over me and telling me what to do, demanding me to do things that if I didn't agree with, I had no choice or say so in the matter. And it just always irked me. I always knew I needed to work for myself, right? Well, I had the seed planted in me when I was about 17 or 18 years old to start being an entrepreneur. Didn't really start figuring things out till I got into my 20s. And I came across a business team that was finally going to show me how I could get my freedom. And they were going to equip me with the tools that I need to become the person who I needed to become in order to be a business owner and to be successful in the world of business. Well, all that being said, at that period of time, I was in the military. And again, I always knew I needed to work for myself, and I've always not enjoyed working for somebody else. I joined the military at age 22. Okay, I was in the Navy for 6 years. I'm very happy that I served. It was a privilege. It was an honor. I would go back and do it again in a heartbeat. But the environment that you are in whenever you are in the military is very different from a regular work environment. If you don't want to show up to work, you have no choice. And if you don't, you can be punished very bad, up until the point that if you want to be real insubordinate, you can go to jail for not going to work, right? When somebody tells you to do something, if they say jump, you say how high. You are controlled. There is somebody that has this thumb on your forehead all the time telling you what to do, when to do it, and to not ask questions, and if you do, you're in trouble. I already didn't like a job. I liked this environment a whole lot less. Well, I joined this business team at age 22. I joined the military at age 22. And all night long, I'm hearing freedom. I'm hearing free enterprise. I'm hearing financial independence. I'm hearing time and money. I'm hearing lifestyle. I'm hearing living life on your own terms. And all day long, I'm hearing stand in line, get at attention, don't look at me, quit asking questions, and all this kind of fun stuff. And it was very hard for me to find a balance and not absolutely just lose it, because all I wanted to do was be free. But I was in a scenario that there was no chance of having freedom. Okay? Well, I got in trouble one day, right? I don't remember what I did. I was working for the hospital, and I got in trouble. And when you get in trouble in the military, they don't slap you on the hand. They try to teach you a lesson, right? So I went into the office, and a chief said, "Stand at attention." And I did, because you don't ask questions. And this dude gets this close to my face. I remember the way his breath smelled. I remember the way that his cologne smelled. I remember everything. And he proceeded to yell at me so loud that he was hurting my eardrums. Like, this dude was freaking tearing into me. and I'm not allowed to do anything. I just have to sit there and take it. And it was almost to the point that I was about to get in trouble because I don't let anybody get in my face and start yelling at me in a way that's that aggressive. But I knew there's going to be a heck of a consequence if I acted on the emotion that I was feeling. But he stood there for about 15 minutes and just made me feel like dirt. I didn't say one word. I sat there and I clenched my teeth and I was like this the entire time. It was one of the most hardest moments in my life because all I wanted to do was react, and I couldn't because I knew the consequence wasn't worth it. And as he was yelling and shouting at me and calling me names and making me feel down and all this kind of fun stuff, I never said one word, but I got so emotional that one tear went down my eye. And he was like, "Oh, what, you're a little girl? You're a little baby?" Bah! And I just sat there. And a tear rolled down my eye. Well, we got done. I went back to my office. I shut the door. And I did cry. I actually did. And I said a prayer. I immediately said a prayer. Because what I was doing was very hard. It was hard to work 60 to 70 hours a week for the military and then work another 40 to 50 hours a week trying to build my business. And that's what was required to build my business. For the last 11 years of my life, I've never worked less than a 100-hour work week. I normally put in about 120 to 130 hours a week. That has been my level of commitment to earn my freedom for the last 11 years. Well, now I got this guy yelling at me. Tear rolls down my face. I'm in this office. I'm crying, and I say a prayer. And my prayer was this: God, I need you to help me remember this moment for the rest of my life. I need to remember this pain. I need to remember feeling like property. I need to remember feeling trapped. I need to remember feeling useless. I need to remember everything that this man just tried to make me feel, because I'm tired. I am working 70 hours a week. It's hard to go put forth another 40 or 50 on top of that. I was, at the time, in a relationship. I did have a kid. I do have a kid. And I'm working incredibly long hours. It's hard, and sometimes I don't feel like it, and I'm just too tired, and I need to get some sleep, and I just don't feel motivated, and I just don't whatever. But all of a sudden, I realized my future. I was either going to use what just happened to me to throw in the towel, woe is me, be a victim, all that mess, or I could get angry. Remember that moment. And anytime I got off work when I'd rather just take a nap, nope, I'm going to charge the hill. Anytime that I just wanted to watch television, got to read a book. Anytime that I didn't want to go meet a stranger and prospect and network, I got to earn my freedom. And it caused me to develop a very, 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 very strong backbone that it doesn't matter what I'm feeling or how hard things get, I'm not going to give it all I got. I'm going to do whatever it takes. If I woke up at 4 in the morning, went to work, worked all day, got off work, put in another 8 hours for myself, and got home at night, and I need to read, because here's a tip: whenever you pour your cup out, you need to fill your cup back up, because if you don't, you're running on empty. You can't give what you don't have. You can't teach what you ain't is. You got to get filled back up, and it would be in the evening, and I'm running on 20 hours. And the next day I'm going to run on 20 hours, but I need to read. I need to get filled back up. How am I going to help these people tomorrow if I'm not putting good stuff in? I'm sitting down, I got my highlighter in my hand, I got my pen in my hand. It's time to work on my personal development, and I can't stay awake. Want to know what most people do when they can't stay awake? They just lay down and go to sleep. Want to know what I would do? I would pick up my book, and I'd stand up, and I would start pacing and walking, because you can't fall asleep when you're walking. And I would walk all around my apartment reading for an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'd keep 3 books going at one time. I'd have one that was on relationships. I'd have one that was on marketing. I would have one that was on spirituality. Or I'd have one that was on goal setting, or one that was on budgeting, or one that was on team building, or one that was on public speaking, or one that was on leadership, one that was on, name it, pick a topic. And I would stay up and I would walk around and I would pace and I would do that. I got stationed on a ship after that event. On the boat, I thought I knew what hard work was, and I already thought I was in hell. I was wrong until I went to that aircraft carrier. I didn't know what hell was. Because on that aircraft carrier, it was 90-hour work weeks. 90 minimum. I still had to put in another 40 to 50 hours a week for my business. On top of the 90 hours, there's only 168 hours a week. When you're committed to working 40 hours a week and you're working 90, that's 130. That leaves you 30. It doesn't leave you much. And I would be tired. And there was this aircraft carrier that I was on, and it was in the middle of summer. You were wearing long sleeves, you were wearing boots. It would be 90 degrees, sometimes 100 outside. And you'd have to go into this aircraft carrier, and it was being overhauled. There was no air conditioning or running air. It was hot as all get out outside, and it was an oven inside. It's just big metal boat that's being cooked by the sun all day long, and all of us workers that were in there were being cooked. We were in an oven. And I would work in that bad boy for 12 hours, and I would get off. The meeting would start at 8 o'clock. I would get off at 6:30, and I would have to drive 45 minutes to an hour across town through traffic to get to a meeting that we had once a week to meet my guests. There was no way I was going to be able to make it on time because I had a mile and a half jog to get to my car because we had to park a mile and a half away. I would be in this stupid boat all day long. I would be sweating all day long, so much to the point that I could take my boot off and pour it and sweat would come out. I was in this thing for 12 hours sweating, going up and down stairs, carrying people, doing all type of running through you name it. And most people would go, yeah, there's a meeting tonight, but I'm tired. I spent 12 hours in an oven. I'm going home. I'm going to spend time with my kid. You know what I would do? I would get off of work. It would still be hot outside. I would run a mile and a half to my car in the heat. I would get in my car. I would start driving and fighting through traffic. While I was driving, I would undress myself, and I would turn the AC on full blast because I was dripping in sweat. I would wait about 10 to 15 minutes until the sweat dried on me. And want to know what I would do after that? I would while I'm driving, I would put my dress socks on. I would put my dress slacks on. I would put my belt on. I would put my white-collared pressed dress shirt on, button it up, tuck it in. I would put my blazer on, all while driving. I would get to the meeting about 15 minutes before it started, and I'd have guests there. Because if you don't get there before the meeting starts, your guests are showing up without you. They've never been there before. They're highly intimidated. You weren't there to greet your guest. Guess what? They're not getting in your business. So I would do all that. I'd work the 12 hours. I'd sweat. I'd unchange. I would change while I was driving. Let sweat dry on me. Get out of the car. The only thing I could never figure out how to do while I was driving was tie my tie. I'd get out of the car. I would put my tie on. I would grab cologne. I would spray myself down, a shower and a bottle. I would go meet my guests. I'd sit them down, let them hear the opportunity meeting, and then I would stand in the back of the room next to nobody the rest of the night because I smelled so flipping bad that I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. But I had to get my freedom. Vincent, why you work so hard? Why you spread yourself so thin? Why you sacrificing so much? Why is your work ethic through the roof? Why are you sleeping so little? I needed my freedom. And it didn't matter if I had to work 90 hours a week for somebody else. It didn't matter if I was sweating all day. It didn't matter if I had to run a mile and a half to my stupid car. It didn't matter if I have to change while I was driving, risking my life. It didn't matter that I had to stand away from everybody the rest of the night because I smelled so bad. I wasn't going to make a freaking excuse